the reality is that guy's partying. And he's partying real hard. And he talked about it in the court case. He's talking about cocaine. Like that was the whole thing, that we're all doing cocaine.
Saying is this: when you knock a champion who's been that dominant and that good for 10 years out in 14 seconds, 13. There is a question, which is, was that in some ways
UFC legend Joe Rogan has taken aim at the idea of Jake Paul facing Conor McGregor, pointing out flaws that many seem to overlook. Rogan, known for his no-nonsense takes, isn't a fan of the YouTuber-turned-boxer phenomenon. Jake Paul, despite his confidence, appears to underestimate McGregor, who has faced challenges since his bout with Mayweather.
That's him now. He's super jacked.
He looks like a bodybuilder.
See, that's what he looks like now. He's still jacked. He still looks great. He looks good, though.
Whoa.
He looks so old now.
He looks different.
Perhaps the most important fight of your career. Give us your thoughts on this rematch. He should have killed me when he had the chance, because now I'm back and I'm going to kill you and your whole team. You and their kids. Just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants. So I dreamed into reality.
Rogan is here to remind everyone that Jake Paul isn't the unstoppable force he believes himself to be. Sure, Paul has millions of followers and plenty of confidence, but does that really mean he can take down a fighter like McGregor?
Don't aspire to be, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles.
Let's dive into Rogan's brutal take on the Paul versus McGregor spectacle. This is going to be a wild ride.
And that is that a lot of fighters, when they've sustained a significant amount of damage.
This wasn't about analyzing their strengths or predicting a winner. It was Joe Rogan's chance to have some fun with the whole Paul versus McGregor situation. First off, Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, seems to be living his best life trolling everyone. Rogan, however, had some choice words for Paul's boxing career and his knack for drawing attention. He straight up called Jake a master troll, but credit where it's due. Jake's marketing skills are top-notch. The guy is a circus ringmaster, and everyone's watching. Even if it's just to see the chaos unfold, Rogan doesn't hold back when it comes to Jake's boxing abilities. He acknowledges that Jake has knocked out some well-known fighters, though they're all past their prime, guys like Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, and Anderson Silva. Rogan suggests that if Jake wasn't a YouTuber, people might take him more seriously as a boxer, but let's be honest, his YouTube background always works against him. Still, Rogan admits the guy has real power in his hands, even if his competition hasn't exactly been top tier.
Now I think people are coming around. I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fight. He knows how to fight. It's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well.
Then there's Conor McGregor, the former UFC golden boy, who's been spiraling for a while now. Rogan, always the truth teller, didn't hold back when discussing McGregor's fall from grace. According to Rogan, McGregor's biggest downfall wasn't a lack of skill. It was his self-destructive tendencies. Fame and money hit McGregor hard when he was at the top of the world. He was unstoppable, constantly bragging and trash-talking, but somewhere along the way, he lost his way. It's as if the fame went straight to his head, and he couldn't stop partying. Sure, McGregor is still in incredible shape, but that doesn't hide the fact that his life has been a mess lately. Legal troubles, failed business ventures, and a reputation that's been taking a serious hit.
He looks good, and if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future.
Rogan doesn't sugarcoat it. McGregor was once the guy who was supposed to be the best ever, the one destined to dominate the sport. And for a while he did. He knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, became the first fighter to hold 2 UFC titles simultaneously, and had the world at his feet. But McGregor's story doesn't end there, does it? Rogan points out that after hitting his peak, everything started to fall apart. From trashing buses to bizarre altercations with other fighters, McGregor acted more like a circus performer, both inside and outside the cage. His fall from grace has been, well, entertaining, but also tragic.
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
What's happening with his the civil suit? He's being dropped by all his companies or something.
Yeah, I don't know the real details of that case, but the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard.
Let's dive into the infamous bus incident when Conor McGregor threw a dolly, a metal trolley, at a bus full of UFC rivals. It was pure chaos, and Joe Rogan's analysis was spot on. McGregor's actions were exactly what we've come to expect from him. His behavior led to serious legal trouble, which, let's face it, doesn't exactly scream world champion material. But true to Rogan's style, he didn't just stop at calling out McGregor's antics. He went all in, criticizing McGregor's lack of focus, pointing to his legendary partying lifestyle, complete with rumors of cocaine use and wild nights out. While McGregor is still eyeing a comeback, it's tough to take him seriously when he seems more focused on personal drama and legal issues than on the actual sport.
Dylan Dennis is a professional fighter. He's a professional fighter. He jumps out, he takes a swing at him. They're screaming, and Dylan's like, "F you," and he's like, "F you," and there's a bunch of people get involved, and then a bunch of other people jump in. The whole thing was nuts. But the idea that we should be shocked after him throwing a dolly at a bus because Khabib's on the bus, those Russians don't fucking play like that, man.
Yeah.
Then there's the matter of McGregor's legal troubles. From losing sponsorships to facing a civil lawsuit, his career has become a whirlwind of chaos, with a woman in Dublin accusing him of assault, which certainly hasn't helped his image. Rogan doesn't just gloss over this, he gives it the attention it deserves. McGregor's life is a mess, and it's clearly affecting his legacy. Sure, McGregor can keep posting cryptic Instagram workout videos, but the truth is, he's not the same. The fire, the passion, the charisma that once made him a superstar, it's all gone.
Who accused the mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor of raping her in a hotel in Dublin 6 years ago, has won a civil case against him. The jury has found McGregor liable and ordered him to pay Nikita Hand €250,000 in damages.
Then there's the talk of McGregor's comeback. He's teasing it, sure, but it's hard to take him seriously when everything he touches seems to fall apart. After his brutal leg injury in 2021, fans were left questioning whether we'd ever see the McGregor of old. The truth is, McGregor isn't just recovering physically, he's dealing with a mountain of other issues. No one really knows what the future holds for him. Rogan isn't optimistic about his return, especially with all the drama and McGregor's focus seeming to be more on partying than on training.
UFC fighter Conor McGregor has been accused of sexually assaulting a woman after an NBA basketball game in Miami earlier this month. A legal letter outlining the allegations was sent to Mr. McGregor and seen by BBC News. It says the alleged assault took place in a bathroom at an arena in Miami. The woman's lawyer said she'd been watching Game 4 of the finals on Friday the 9th of June before the alleged incident happened. She alleged the woman was forced into a men's bathroom by security guards from the NBA and Miami Heat before being violently assaulted by Mr. McGregor.
Hold on a second. Rogan, ever the realist, pointed out that Jake Paul has been training like crazy and isn't just some washed-up social media star trying to punch above his weight. Sure, he's a YouTuber at heart, but Rogan's not buying into that narrative. After seeing Jake's performance against Tyron Woodley, he flat out called Jake legit. No more jokes about Paul not being a real fighter. Joe admitted it. Jake Paul could knock you out if you're not careful. While Rogan acknowledges that Jake's fight IQ might not match that of an elite UFC fighter, he's not pretending Jake isn't taking this seriously. The guy sparring with pro boxers and working with legends like Canelo and Ryan Garcia. Jake's clearly not messing around in the gym.
Good match for Conor. Is that ever happening? Or
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
what's happening with his he just got like the civil suit
Yeah.
or whatever, and he's being dropped by all his
Yep.
companies or something.
Yeah.
Don't get Joe wrong, he's still giving McGregor the benefit of the doubt when it comes to striking. After all, McGregor built his reputation on precision and devastating power. But the story is a lot more complicated than that. McGregor's life since the Mayweather fight has been one of excess. It's not just the money and fame, it's the toll those things have taken on his career. McGregor was living his best life, but not in a way that was beneficial for his future. Partying, injuries, setbacks, the late break, public meltdowns, everything Rogan's pointed out has stacked up to create a fighter who's no longer in his prime. According to Rogan, a huge part of McGregor's downfall was his inability to resist the temptations that came with his success. It wasn't just aging, it was having too much money, too much fame, and not enough discipline to stay focused.
As a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
And this is where Jake Paul's growing legitimacy comes into play. Say what you want about his antics and cringeworthy online presence, but the guy's no slouch in the boxing ring. Rogan takes a moment to highlight how Jake's career has shifted toward the professional side of things. He's taking real fights, training seriously, and that's been boosting his profile. While Jake may have started out as a celebrity boxer, he's quickly evolving into someone who knows how to throw hands, and the world is starting to take notice. Now, here's the problem McGregor faces. He's out of the game. Joe's blunt about it. Despite McGregor's vast past talent, he has a long history of bad decisions, injuries, and habits that don't make him an ideal contender for a comeback. The moment McGregor retired, he began slipping away from his prime. Sure, he might still have the skills to be dangerous, but how much of that killer instinct remains after all the fame and fortune? That's the question Rogan keeps coming back to.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would fuck you up.
So, what's the bottom line? Is Jake Paul capable of beating McGregor in a boxing ring? According to Joe Rogan, it's not out of the question. McGregor has been through too many wars, injuries, and distractions, while Jake has been putting in serious work. He's improving not just in his boxing, but also in his mental game. McGregor, on his best day, might still be a beast, but how many of those best days does he have left? Rogan might not have a definitive answer, but his commentary makes it clear. Jake Paul isn't the joke people think he is, and McGregor's time may have passed.